Oh man, good afternoon. Good afternoon. What's going on, my man Daryl?
What's up, Rod? What's up? How y'all doing out there? Who's on the live?
Yeah. Welcome everybody to come into the second episode of the Backyard Blitz. Me and Daryl doing our thing over here. Today we got some
We
off
got
season.
the Chicago Bears and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yes. And both teams didn't have a stellar season. And we want to get into what they need to improve on and what can we help them with going on for the future. Um, so we're gonna start off with the Bears. Daryl, what did you see about the Bears?
All right, so the 7-10 Bears finished last in the NFC North. Honestly, the biggest issue that I saw with that Bears this whole season was it wasn't Justin Fields like how everybody was saying how he was the problem. It was more so that offensive line. And, we've seen through several teams in this league that if you don't have a strong offensive line, it's hard for your quarterback to produce. And we see the numbers and we're saying, Justin Fields had a bad season, but the offensive line wasn't any better, which is
No.
why it was hard for on games where we're seeing DJ Moore's numbers were low. And it's because he can't even get the ball this season. And so that was the biggest thing I saw for them. That was a downgrade for them. If they ever want to make playoff push, especially in their division where you got the Vikings, who are always going to be good competition once Kirk Cousins gets back. We're starting to see the rise of Jordan Love and the Packers of how they did this playoff season. Even the Detroit Lions, who literally had a tremendous, and I mean a tremendous season. So if they with that division is going to be tough for them.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking at their contracts and they got a lot of low contracts. They don't have really big contracts. The biggest contract they got is Montez Sweat, which gives them good pass rusher.
Yeah,
But that's 20 million right there. They still got $78 million of cap space. They can bring some people in. They can bring some offensive linemen in that they need. They do need to bring in a running back. I will say that the running game was not as strong, being that Justin Fields has more rushing yards than their actual running back. That's not good at all, honestly. But that also contributes to their offensive line, who's given up 44 sacks. That's a ton of sacks to give up in a season.
yeah,
Their offensive line is so poor that regardless of if you bring in a rookie, which is going to make it worse because now he's got to adapt, and you still give him no offensive line, he's going to get sacked as well. His confidence is going to go down, and you're going to be in the same position that you're in now, where you're looking at a player that you think is a bust, and he's not a bust. You're just not putting the right pieces around him to help him out. In addition to that, you got to bring in another receiver. DJ Moore and your tight end commit cannot be your top receivers by themselves. It's a great work. It works a little bit, but giving them an extra option to stretch the field or alleviate some space will definitely help that offense completely. Um, and on the defensive side of the ball, I mean they weren't amazing. They gave up some big chunk plays. It was a little bit feasting, but they still made some plays. Their defensive line is not extremely sturdy. It could use some work. You could bring into a talented draft pick, especially if you got this number one pick that you can trade and get these assets for. And I would prefer you trade and stick with Fields. In my personal opinion, stick with Fields, or you're going to lose out on opportunities to make your team better, because one player cannot make your team better on both sides of the ball.
yeah, I agree because we see like I'm looking at the rankings from this past season. The Bears, they're ranked 12. in defense. That was their defensive ranking, which is not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. It's like near the middle of
Yeah.
all the teams. So I wouldn't waste my number one pick on getting Caleb Williams. I would focus more on, let's get another receiver, or we can get some help on that defense to be stronger. Or even, like you said, help the offensive line. But offensive line, I'm more so going through free agency because I want veterans on my line more than I want to get a rookie on my offensive line.
And I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of talented players out there that you can get. I mean, you can go grab you a running back and help you because you got a ton of free agent running backs that are on the market that are better, way better than what you have right now, unless you really believe in Herbert, which I personally don't, but I could see it could be just fact because his offensive line was not good.
You mean Fields?
No, Herbert, the running back.
Oh, the running back. Yeah, my fault.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Yeah, Fields, he had more rushing yards and less attempts. Played all 13 games. Herbert didn't play all 13 games.
Yeah, I mean, my thing with the Bears though is like, I would have liked for them to at least try and go for another receiver too, like go for Higgins to be on the opposite side, because I think he would have been a great addition to DJ Moore. Because right now, Fields only really has one option. Yeah, I mean two options, like you said. Yeah, they're saying you got Mooney on the other side, but he's not consistent, and that's the issue I have with him. It's like DJ Moore's consistent, Clement's consistent, but Mooney just like he'll have some breakout games, and then other games it's like he doesn't show up at all.
I mean, Mooney the 50% catcher, dog.
Yeah,
61 targets, 31 catches. That's come on, man. One touchdown out of 61. Come on, man. We got to do better. Yeah, your average per yards 13.4, but you really wasn't moving. You're not moving the sticks for me.
Right.
Especially especially if you have a player like DJ Moore who's going to be able to, carry, not carry the load, but make those splash catches and get that yak yards after the catch. You need that consistent guy like an Amari Cooper type. You need a consistent guy who's just going, hey, I can get us this first down on third and 5, 3rd and 4. You need those kind of guys on your team to balance out the over pressure that they're going to put on a DJ Moore or a Komet, or even get a running back who catches the ball out of the backfield. I mean, I personally believe that the two backs system works so well. It worked well in Dallas. They went away from it because they stopped believing in it. Why did I draw a blank on that man's name? I am so sorry, sir.
You talking about the running backs like Ezekiel Elliott and Pollard?
Yeah. Elliott and Pollard worked well, and you were thrown off because it's a change of pace, and like Zeke may have slowed down a little bit, but he still gave you those gritty yards that you needed to push the sticks. But then you change it up, and you got the speedy back coming out the backfield, and you're not ready for it. And he also can catch balls out of the backfield. I mean, Zeke could too, but you can put him on that running back out, or put him in a 5 and out. He can stretch the field a little bit, and give that relief to not have those linebackers sitting right there underneath your routes. I think that's good. I feel that in the line. If I trade this pick, I can get so much more assets out of somebody. I don't know who I would trade it to, because Washington's right there, if I'm not mistaken, in the draft. They're number 2, right?
Yeah, Washington's number 2.
Yeah, so I mean, they're not going to trade up to get that. So I'm already at number 2. Either you're going to pick him or you're not going to pick him. It's up to you. But I don't see anybody else really jumping up to really go get that. Maybe a Carolina may want to do that because they don't believe in Bryce Young now. I don't know.
No, I think the problem Carolina has their own issues they gotta deal with. Like they got their own issues. They're gonna have to stick with Bryce Young, I think, for another year. But the thing with Chicago, like I was going on defensively, I think they could get another pass rusher on that defensive line because we know what Sweat can do. We saw what he did in Washington, and I mean, he was just in a bad situation in Washington because they were going nowhere. But with what he did in Chicago for the last few games of the season when he got traded at the deadline, we saw what he can do at his full potential. If they can just get another pass rusher over there, even if it comes like in the draft, that helps their line. And I think they need help on the secondary because, Eddie Jackson this year, I think, was probably not his best season.
No.
It was not his best season in Chicago. So I think they could get some help in the secondary, like bringing in another corner, safety. They need help up there too.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, their secondary could use some help. I think their linebackers are actually pretty good. Tremaine Edwards is really talented.
Yeah.
And TJ Edwards, they're top. Those are those top guys right there. They're giving you those tackles. They're running side to side. But yeah, you giving up chunk plays or not being able to stop the run when you need to stop the run. That's what's going to help them out even better. But also not being on the field as much, being able to slow the game down. The offense has to contribute to slowing the game down to help out your defense so they're not sitting on the field 15, 20 times for no reason. Like, dude, you can't keep giving up the ball. We just got back here. But, I mean, Sweat had 6 sacks. Who's that? Walker with 3.5. Justin Jones, 3.5. Yeah, a couple linebacker and a DB. So they're bringing in some blitzes. Tell they're bringing in some blitzes every so often. I think their scheme could use some work, but that's a coaching aspect. But I think that the first thing they need to do is figure out how much they can get for this number 1 pick, or bite the bullet and take USC quarterback.
Oh, Caleb Williams.
Yeah, take Williams.
My thing here with Caleb I was gonna say my thing here with Caleb Williams, and this is for Chicago fans to understand. Yeah, it sounds nice because of what he did in college, but you got to remember too, what he did in Oklahoma in that conference. That's all offense. Nobody plays defense, so his numbers were high with the Sooners. And then when he went to USC, you're in another conference where it was dying down anyways, but we saw the hiccups that he has in his game. Whereas when it's man-to-man coverage, he was dominant at USC. But once teams started saying, okay, we're going to go zone and we're going to make sure we cover those options that you have, but we're also going to keep a spy on you to make sure that if you're going to scramble, like to make sure you don't have room to run. And we saw him panic behind the line and he would just force stuff.
Yeah.
And that's where he had costly turnovers in games that that you would have thought they would have won. And now in the NFL, you have a league where defensive coordinators are smart enough to where we're going to be like, we're going to show man. And once you snap that ball, we're going to switch it to zone. So the first option you think you have, it's not going to be there no more.
Yeah, their defense. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, that Caleb Williams, he's still going to have some issues. But if they think that their future is not Fields, then they're going to have to bite the bullet, and they're going to be doing some trades to move pieces away from them, because most of these guys aren't going to be wanting to wait 2-3 years till this guy gets ready to be ready. And it's going to take at least a year because you haven't fixed that offensive line. You have the cap space to fix the offensive line. I believe you can do that with some veterans. that are out there. But remember, having a veteran means that they have a shelf life. They're only there for a certain period of time. So if he's not hitting on all cylinders coming out of the gate, then you basically just wasted their time.
Yeah, I'm looking at their Chicago's draft right now. They got obviously the number 1 overall pick. They got the number 9. They got a third round. They got no second round picks, but they got a third round pick at the 75th and a fourth round at the 110th and 122nd. And then their last pick is a fifth round at 142. So you're essentially talking about 2 number 1 overall picks where you can get, where you can get right there. You can get a top, O lineman to help you out to protect Fields if the future is for Fields, which I think it is. But if you're going to go the route with Caleb Williams, then go ahead, get Caleb Williams, find a receiver, a top receiver that could help him out. And then for your 75th pick, you might as well go and find somebody on the O-line, because I don't see much O-linemen in this draft class that's ranked that high that will be good. So use that number 1.
There's quite a few actually. I was actually surprised. There's quite a few offensive linemen that are ranked pretty high. I have no clue how to say this name out of Penn State, so I'm not gonna butcher your name, big dog. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it to you. But you also got Joe Alt from Notre Dame. He's high on the list.
Oh yeah,
you got another guy, Fuga from Oregon State. Who else we got down here?
Actually, no, Fuga might actually be helpful for them.
Yeah, you got Fuga. You also got JC Latham from Alabama. Like there's a couple of good linemen that's going to go out in this first round. It just depends on where they're going to go.
But the problem, what we've seen with Chicago when it came to the draft is like they don't really draft like linemen early. It's always seemed like they've always gone for skills positions early.
True. Yeah, and I was looking at the mock draft earlier today. They got for their first 2 picks, I seen Caleb Williams and the receiver. What is it? Receiver out, I think, Washington State.
Yeah.
So that was their 2 picks starting off, and I was like, okay. So if that's the case, you're not sure if DJ Moore is going to be on board. So his possible replacement would be Romeo Odunze from Washington. Not Washington State, my bad. Well, from Washington. Which isn't bad. Not bad.
I wouldn't say DJ Moore is not. I wouldn't say completely that of what you're saying that he's not on board. I think he should be on board, but at the state of his career right now, I think he's trying to make the playoffs. So
yeah. I think this is his second team.
Yeah, because he got drafted by Carolina.
Yeah, so you got that guy. You got there where they couldn't get it done. They terrible season. And then you go to another team who it looked like they were having a resurgence to going back to the playoffs, and then it just not happened. It falters.
Right.
Do we ride it out, or do we, our next contract, do we try to find somebody who's a playoff contender?
I think for any veteran player in the league, you always want to try and get into a team that is a playoff contender, because you very seldom going to see somebody with that type of talent that's going to say, I'm going to ride it out with this team that has no chance. I mean, me and you both know, like anybody else, whether they want to deny it, if we that good of a player and you're not willing, if I know there's no future with this team I'm with, I'm going to find a team that has a future for me to get into the playoffs. Like go to a team like, shoot, Philly. You go to teams like that
Yeah.
because you know that they have winning culture and that they're all about making the playoffs. You don't stick with those low teams like the Cardinals and that really have nothing going for them.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the mock draft right now, and their ninth pick, where is it? Yeah, Romeo Duza. That's the from Washington. Yeah, you're right. That's who they essentially would select 9 in the mock.
Definitely. Which, I mean, even if they traded that number one pick and got more assets, I think that would still be their primary target because that gives you an extra option for whether it's Caleb Williams or it's Justin Fields. So now I have DJ Moore. I got this other guy on the opposite side of the field. So now all from that to my center or not center my tight end, I got 3 catchers that can do that. The next thing, all I need to do is maybe bring in a Derrick Henry, a Saquon Barkley, Jacobs to be my running back and just be an explosive offense. And then bring in an extra lineman, whether it's the left tackle or center that can control everything. If I'm not sold on my center,
And the thing is that, like, I don't know if you heard, but the NFL they just brought in how much cap space they're giving teams, and it's 30 million now. So now, if you got that 30 million added to whatever cap space you have left over, you got the money now to do those options.
oh, if they're giving him an extra 30 million, that's $100 million that they have in cap space.
Yeah, every team's
Hey,
got an extra 30 million. So why not
well,
use it?
I'm talking about the Bears in general because they're sitting at like 78 million. Yeah, they're sitting at 78 million in cap space.
Yeah.
I could definitely go get at least 2 or 3 players to help me do what I need to do to get back to the playoffs, back to the championship.
The problem is if you try and find these players, you gotta make sure they on board with what's going on over here. Cause like I said, you're you got veteran running backs right now who trying to make the playoffs, like Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs. You got Saquon. You got guys who are trying to make playoff pushes. And
Yeah,
if they don't see that there's nothing like going on, like how a lot of players are seeing over in Houston, seeing, dang, the Texans got something special going on. I might want to go there. If
yeah,
there's nothing special going on in Chicago, then you know you got leftover money to find like somebody who is just looking for a job at that point. So you
yeah,
got to upsell and try and get these players. Hey, I know we didn't do so well last year, but if you come here and we get these pieces in this draft, dude, you're gonna have it easy over here, and we're gonna make a playoff push.
yeah. You're right. You're right.
So my thing is, shoot, even I'm looking at the mock draft. Who Tennessee at 7, they're possibly gonna go for Joe Alt from Notre Dame, at the offensive tackle. You and at the Falcons try and go. Oh no, they're going for outside linebacker, but why not use that 9th pick and try to trade up to 7th to get that offensive line right there?
Because I feel like what I'm looking at, because I mean, two spaces down. I got 2 offensive linemen on the board that's going to end up going for the Jets. Yeah, I could go get my extra receiver here, or wait to the second round and grab a receiver there, or I can go and take this offensive lineman to protect my quarterback. Whether it's going to be Caleb Williams or it's going to be Justin Fields. First off, I need an offensive. Left guard, right. I need a center, and I need a guard, a right guard. Which I don't see any centers on here in the first round. So I think that would be the point where I'm like, all right, my second round is going to be um, my offensive line and address those situations because there's no guards out here that are that high up. Everything is an offensive tackle. Actually, I take that back. Offensive lineman Jacob Powers Jr. Johnson from Oregon.
Yeah.
They got him at 21. That may be high, but I could also drop back down, trade that ninth pick to drop down to either go for a defensive player or get that offensive lineman that I could put at guard or maybe center and keep rocking. That doesn't make sense. Or go back, and if I need to help my secondary, I can go get somebody like Kool-Aid McKinstry, Nate Wiggins. Like I have a couple different places that I think that I can plug somebody in, and they can definitely contribute to us being a better playoff team than what we are.
Shoot, even like when you talk about getting offensive linemen, one place I'll go to in free agency, because right now we already know that Tyron Smith from Dallas, he's not leaving. He's staying.
I don't know. We don't know yet.
Well, you're right. We don't know yet, but I feel like there's going to be a high possibility he will stay because he's literally the right now the best offensive lineman on the board. And I think when you're in Dallas in general, that's good paying money, and you're saying you're making the playoffs every season. So why not go for somebody like Trent Brown, who's the second best free agent option you got right now? If I'm Chicago, go for Trent Brown.
Is that a guard?
Tackle.
Unless I'm kicking my tackle into guard, I don't have a. Yeah, I don't see where
right
I
now.
would be doing that.
Right now, majority of free agency linemen is all tackles. There's not really any guards that are free agents.
See, so that's where I'm looking at, because I didn't see any free agent tackles. Now, like I said, if I want to push somebody in, I don't think. Let's see, we got Braxton Jones. Actually, on my right side, Nate Davis. Is my right guard. Darnell Wright as my right tackle. But the middle of my line is the one that I have questions. Lucas Patrick, Nate Davis. Let's see.
My thing is though, like I know some teams have been successful on moving guards and tackles in different spots, but it doesn't work all the time.
Yeah,
I'll be the first to see it, because as seeing my team, what we've done, the Giants, when it comes to that O-line moving people in positions that don't fit them, it's never worked out. So, and I think Chicago is having the same issue. They're not having that much bad of an issue, but they still got it.
I don't know if y'all giving up 44 sacks this season, but yeah.
Look, if Justin Fields was able to play the whole season, 80% of the season versus Daniel Jones, who ain't really was able to play that much of the season, I'd probably say their O-line is a little bit better.
He played in every game. Actually, no, they need a center.
No,
I'm looking at it right now. They don't have a center on their roster right now.
Yeah,
so their biggest issue is that they need a center. They still got Nate Davis. What else am I looking for? Braxton Jones and Jenkins. Trevor Jenkins still there. Braxton Jones still there. And Braxton Jones is still on his rookie contract.
Oh yeah, so they're gonna have to keep him unless they choose to make a trade.
Yeah, but they don't have a center right now, And that's what looks like they need like the most. And you need somebody who's competent, whether you go into free agent or in the draft, somebody who is smart and intelligent and knows how to pick up reads with these linebackers who are creeping in or the stunts that happen. He's got to give out those calls as well. So
Well, I'm looking through the mock draft, and there's not really any centers that's like going to be in the first round.
yeah,
A lot of them are going to be outside tackles.
and that's why I was saying, well, most of you get a rarity that you're going to get a Jason Peters, or not Jason Peters, but Jason Kelsey. Those guys are few and far between.
Yeah.
So
like Jeff Saturday, Jason Kelsey, you're rarely going to get a guy like that who plays a big role and factor into, being the standard for holding the O-line down.
Yeah.
So I can say me and you both agree on what Chicago needs to do. And honestly, too, if they can't get this together, we may see a coaching change.
Oh, yeah. The definite coaching change.
We may see a coaching change and we may see a GM change. Because right now, there's a lot of people that aren't happy with the front office for Chicago right now. The owners definitely are not happy.
Shoot, I was unhappy with them when they was that Khalil Mack?
Oh, giving up Khalil Mack?
Yeah. And they had that bus ride receiver White a couple years ago. I was like, oh man, that sucks.
Yeah.
But they haven't done really well in the draft. They've done okay, but their misses are really bad misses.
The thing with Chicago, it's like they've done just enough to be relevant in their division.
Mm-hmm.
But this past season was one of those seasons where it was like, all right, we finally hit rock bottom and we aren't able to get away with what we were able to the past few seasons.
Yeah. I think they need to go back to the mindset of we need to have a dominant defense and then a okay offense. And I think that is their winning solution that they need to look at, is that their defense is a top 5 defense and not 12.
Yeah, because when their defense is on point, Chicago is scary. It don't matter what the offense does, because you're so worried about game plan for the defense.
Yeah,
and right now, as Chicago, and Chicago fans know this, that it's always been about the defense.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Especially like the times you had Brian Urlacher and all of them, it was about the defense.
Yep. I mean, even when you did have Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall, your defense was still at the very least a top 10.
Shoot, even when they had Walter Payton, like that was like that defense was still there in 85. The 85, it was all about the defense. So Chicago, if they want to make any changes, obviously build that offensive lineup, but that defense got to be, that needs to be a top 10 defense to where you can make guys like Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, Jordan Love, make those quarterbacks in that division fear you.
Yeah, definitely.
Because right now, they ain't scared of you in Chicago. Especially Jordan Love.
Shut up.
Hey, man.
We'll get to that. We'll get that in a couple weeks.
Let's
the Cincinnati Bengals.
Who they?
Who are they? We don't know.
Exactly.
They have so much good talent on this offense that they just need to stay healthy. I think they may be losing T. Higgins, but then again, they may not.
My thing with Cincinnati, though, is like, as you say, staying healthy. Joe Burrow, and we've already seen with Cincinnati, when they're healthy, look how far they went into the playoffs, going to the Super Bowl. They just went against a team that was hungrier and looking to win, and a team that went all in.
Yeah.
But Burrow, all that, what he's done for that offense, he's been fearless since he came into the league.
Yeah.
And he showed it his rookie season. It was unfortunate he had the ACL tear against Washington, but since he's been in the league, he's been fearless and has dominated against top defenses.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't think their offense is terrible. It's just a health thing. They may can upgrade at running back, but don't really think they need a top 5 talented running back. Maybe a big bruiser or somebody who can, just grind out yards for them. But I think their defense is all me personally. When I look at Cincinnati, it's always their defense that I think is always lacking on something. Whether they have really talented linebackers or they have some okay corners, the defense falters too much, in my opinion. And they're another team with I ain't gonna say they have a lot of cap space. They don't have a lot of cap space. They got 50. You got 50 million on the cap space. So add that extra 30. So you look at 70. They can add a couple pieces to them. They're probably gonna have to think about re-signing Jamar Chase, and that's gonna be a hefty price as well.
It is, but if I'm the Bengals right now, get Jamar Chase's money, obviously, but
And
I'm
think
using
about
majority of my free agency on the defense because you're ranked 31 out of all teams. You are ranked 31. The only team that was worse than you was the Commanders.
That is terrible for this kind of team. The team that has been to a championship, that plays well, that's always just they're there. It's always a piece here or a piece there. I mean, you look at Joe Burrow, 15 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, not terrible. And only played in 10 games. Still 2,300 yards, like in just 10 games. Come on. You got Joe Mixon, another 1,000-yard running back. I mean, actually, at this point, I don't think you need anybody. Joe Mixon's gonna give you those gritty grind out running game. You can get a backup in the later rounds to complement him and give him some rest sometimes. Simple.
But when I'm looking at the numbers for their defense, the Bengals' defensive yards average was 374.6, and overall this season they gave up 41 touchdowns.
Yeah, Yeah, that's definitely not good.
Yeah, so we're talking about like terrible like average on that, and you give up that much touchdowns, and majority of the teams they play, it's like, especially when you play in Baltimore, Cleveland, and what was it, Pittsburgh?
Yeah,
those aren't really deep threat teams. They're majority running teams. Like, they run the ball. That's their thing. I mean, Cleveland towards the end, they started throwing it more because you had what's his face at QB after Deshaun Watson went down. It'll come to my head once I think about it. But your division is really just running with the ball. There's not really much. You're the only team that it really has deep threats.
Yeah. Which I'm looking at them right now, and I'm like, how in the world is my linebacker? Well, yeah, my linebacker should be having high tackles, but my safety and my corners are all. Two of them, was it Hilton and Hill? My safety and my corner. Hill's got 110 tackles. I get if he's down in the box. All right, I'll understand that. But like, that's way too many tackles.
You may tell me you were averaging allowing over 138 yards a game. This is a game, like, that's not good.
No.
That's terrible.
They need some defensive line help. Um, Either you're going to move away from who's that? What's his name? Hubbard. Because I don't think Hubbard does. I mean, he's serviceable. 15 games. Oh, they got Chidobe Awuzie. I forgot about him being on
Yeah.
there.
Even with him, they still didn't do.
But
But I
I
mean,
think that the biggest thing is their defensive line. They need to get some more people. DJ Ryder, I think, is a free agent, so they're definitely gonna have to either replace him or bring him back. But when you look at the tackles, my defensive ends aren't getting tackles, and neither are my defensive tackles. They're not really getting 58 tackles for my top defensive end, and my highest defensive tackles for BJ Hill was 51.
yeah, I was
That's
gonna say BJ Hill was not it this season.
yeah.
And
They're,
after
they're
last season, I thought he was gonna have a breakout season this year.
Yeah, they are definitely lacking on the defensive side of the ball. Hopefully, BJ Hill, that was maybe I don't know if that was his first year or not, but oh wait, they only had one defensive end make
Yeah,
so he had,
Trey Hendrickson. That was the
because he had 17 sacks. That's it.
yeah. Trey Hendrickson was the only person that showed up on that line this season.
Yeah, so they definitely need to give him Hendrickson some help, whether it's defensive tackle or defensive end or bring in a little bit more blitzes. But they got to be able to stop the run and contain passing games. But in that division, yeah, you have to be able to at least slow down these running teams. Actually, I think the only other team is Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh is a run heavy team. I mean, they're having their own situations over there
I don't
because
consider them a run heavy team because their running game isn't that good. They're normally considered a run heavy team, but without a strong running back, not saying that their running back isn't strong. I don't know what was going on this year, but it just wasn't as potent as it used to be when you have Jerome Bettis.
yeah, yeah, and the last time even before Najee Harris, you had Le'Veon Bell that was over there,
Strong
you
running
know,
back.
yeah, cooking.
So I don't know if Najee Harris is having the Alabama slump.
I
Or
think
what
that
it is right now.
but I mean, I think the issue that Pittsburgh had really was, I think everybody's eyes was on Najee Harris this season because it was like they don't got a quarterback who's accurate at throwing, so we really just gotta focus on stopping him.
Yeah.
But when I'm looking at Cincinnati for their mock draft, they got the 18th overall pick, and they're looking to get outside tackle J.C. Latham from Alabama to help him out.
Yeah.
Which I think that's a good pick for them.
I mean, I've seen that. I've also seen Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah.
The receiver. Let's see. The receiver out of LSU. I think they think that's the best receiver out there. You also got out of Georgia, Mims. So I've heard so many things about Mims that I think is positive and negative.
I've heard positive only.
I've heard some got off-field issue type things. That's why he's
I was
not
gonna
as high
say
as everybody keeps saying.
playing wise, I've heard positive.
Yeah. Playing wise, no, he's really good, but his off the field issues probably was dropped him in the draft board. So,
and they got 6 picks this draft.
They got 6.
Yeah, they got 1 pick in each round.
Good. So they got opportunities. They got their opportunity. They don't have to move up. They can actually just kind of play a little bit. Maybe make a trade if the person that they see, like Nate Wiggins or ooh,
But if I'm them, I'm looking to try and trade up. If I'm trading up with anybody, I would probably try and um trade with somebody and try and take over outside tackle Olu Fonzu from Penn State, because he's the best one you got. He's the best lineman that's coming out of this draft. Try and trade up and get him.
see at that point you're trading up with maybe the Bears, which helps the Bears out because one, they could drop down and get an extra, an extra pick.
Right.
But then you lose out on a pick, and I got 6 picks this draft. I value my draft picks, and I will try to believe in my scouting team, and they give me the information like, hey, he may not be high on this board, but if this player falls to us, we should definitely go get him. Defensive lineman.
See, that, I mean, when you see it like that, it's good, but I look at it as like, we have a good team. We just battle with injuries. If I can trade, I got a lot of picks. And if I could trade up with the Jets and take who the Jets are trying to get, I'm getting an offensive lineman that can help us out and help with our playoff push versus having him go to the Jets, where the Jets still are in a rebuilding situation right now.
We don't know what the Jets are. They
just here.
They could be rebuilding. They could just be waiting for the Messiah to come back.
Even with Rodgers coming back, I mean,
the team wasn't terrible with Wilson at the helm. Zach Wilson.
No, it was just they just had line issues in New York,
and they need offensive line help as well. But when I look at it like this, my team is not healthy. If I lose picks, I lose opportunity of creating depth.
That's fair enough, though.
So I really don't want to have to lose my depth just to get one player who is now, it's a possibility this is a 50-50 at this point.
And right now, you got to also think about, where is Cincinnati going to go with the fact that you may be losing Higgins? It's not again.
He's still on contract though.
I thought he was free agent.
I'm looking at the where'd it go? Sorry.
I thought this was his free agency this year.
2024. They still got him on contract.
Oh,
he's getting 21 million.
Oh yeah, then you good right there with the offense.
Yeah.
And can you imagine if that offensive line, if they get better, how much Mixon is going to be getting upfield?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like Joe Mixon.
Yeah, they can't let him go because he get cut. They still got to pay that 21 million in dead money in cap savings. And that's not gonna work.
Yeah. And Joe Mixon, he had a good year this year.
Yeah, another 1,000 yards for Joe. I'm not mad at it. I'm not paying you Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Jacobs kind of money, but yeah.
Well, we don't even know what kind of money they getting.
Oh, but it's gonna be a big thing because if I'm not mistaken, the what is it? What is it? The contract for signing a player, the free agency tag is like 22 million. Whether you're that good or not, if I franchise tag you, that's what I got to pay you.
Well, because I was gonna say the running back for the running back market right now for franchise tag is 12 million. So it's literally just They just bumped it up $2 million more from last year. Because it was 10 million. The franchise tag for running backs was 10 mil last year, but they bumped it up to 12 million. So
yeah, I'm not paying $12 million.
And the running back position, that's easily replaceable.
Especially, I'm definitely not Joe Mixon doesn't have to get franchise. I'm paying him $2 million.
Yeah,
I'm paying him $2,200. I'm fine.
Yeah, so you're good with that.
Yeah, like Joe Mixon, just stay consistent. We'll give you some extra backup so you can get some rest in from the draft.
And his backup isn't even that bad of a player. I saw him in the game against Jacksonville, and for the time he was in there while Mixon was getting rest, they were still moving the ball upfield.
We talking about Chase Brown?
What, the Bengals backup running back?
Yeah.
It was another guy.
Trayvon Williams or Chris Evans? I'm looking at that. I'm looking at depth chart right now. They got Joe Mixon, Chase Brown, Trayvon Williams, and Chris Evans.
Oh yeah, it was Chase Brown.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Chase Brown. I had to look at the pictures, but yeah, he had a decent. He was decent for the time he was in there when Mixon would get his rest. So it wasn't like he was hurting them moving the ball upfield.
Oh no.
But then again, they was using him mainly to block, so there could be extra blocking for Chase to get the ball and stuff. So
yeah, give him some extra time to get.
So I think with Cincinnati, if they can just get that defense together and shoot, once that defense gets together, I think they will be a good team. I was happy that they have finally gotten rid of Eli Apple after those couple seasons they had him, because I really thought he was the issue. But now we see that he wasn't really the issue. That defense just as a whole needed help. It was just, I think he was the scapegoat because it's Eli Apple.
True. I mean, but Eli Apple is very bad though. So.
Right.
He got torched all the time, especially Dallas torched the mess out of him, dog. Just exposed.
Yeah, even when he was with us when the Giants, he was getting torched. Him and Janoris Jenkins was getting whooped. So I think with the Bengals, defense is probably going to be the biggest thing. But my big thing for the Bengals now is Joe Burrow, you got to stay healthy. If you can't stay healthy, then it's going to be hard for the Bengals. The Bengals got to make a decision. Are we going to keep him or are we going to move on from him?
Yeah.
Because if he can't finish a whole season, I might as well go with Browning.
True.
Because Browning's not a bad QB. But at the same time, it's like he's not starter, but he can be. And so I think, then again, this comes to the offensive line. If you protect Joe Burrow, you ain't got to worry about him getting hurt. And I think that's been the story that we've seen this NFL season is teams that got bad offensive lines. That's when you see quarterbacks getting hurt the worst and being out for the season. Like Cincinnati, of course, the Giants, the Jets, seen it all. The Patriots, you got bad offensive line, you get I don't really have much to say about Chase Young's, Higgins, and Boyd because them three, they're just monsters.
Yeah.
And they honestly got the best trio in receivers, which I think if you have any of those people that would leave that team, I feel like it's probably going to be Boyd or Higgins that would be gone first. And
yeah, you're right.
The only issue too is like when it comes to staying healthy too is like I wouldn't be surprised if later on if the Bengals still have these same issues, if you see Jamar Chase be like, yo, I need to go to, playoff contending team where I can get the ball. Because we saw the frustration he had the first few weeks saying he's not getting the ball in his hands. So if he goes on a team where he has a quarterback that can get him the ball, he'll be good.
Definitely.
So that's my thing with Cincinnati. There's a lot that we gotta see with these two teams going on. And as we've both seen so far, is that Chicago and Cincinnati defense is going to have to step up this 2024 season.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, you got to switch right there.
Yeah. I was trying to. I just did it.
Oh, Zeno did it?
Yeah, he just jumped in and did it.
Shout out to Zeno. But yeah, so Chicago, like we said, biggest thing for them is they got to take care of Justin Fields. They got to take care of that O-line and fix that defense. Same with the Bengals. But also Chicago, they need another offense. They need a couple more offensive weapons. I gotta check how special teams looking for both teams.
I mean, normally we use the draft, some of the draft picks, receivers, running backs. I didn't see any problems with their special teams. I mean, they could use some explosiveness. I mean, they could use some explosiveness or whatnot, but I didn't see them doing too much on that side of the ball. Other than that, they desperately don't need to be. I mean, their kicker is good, and like 80% field, 83%, 90% field goals, extra points at 100%. He's fine. They're doing good.
Yeah, I was gonna say Cincinnati's kicker. He's automatic.
Yeah, I just feel like they may be punting way too much.
I mean, they're punting way too much because they can't even get the ball past 10 yards when you gotta deal with this incompetent O line.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the only issue. That's why they punting way too much. They can't even get the ball upfield.
Reed Brandon, what's up, my boy?
What's good?
So I got a question for you, Daryl.
Yeah.
It's a free agency question.
All right, let's hear it.
Let's the top free agents, we got some running backs. So who is your top 5 free agent running backs right now?
Top 5 free agents.
Yeah.
Shoot. Does it gotta be in order?
If you want to put it in order.
I probably won't put them in order, but I know right now my top 3 so far is Saquon, Derrick Henry, and Josh Jacobs.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the last 2, because I'm trying to see who else we got as free agents. Austin. I didn't even know they were free agents too. Tony Pollard gonna stay in Dallas. I'll be honest with you. Y'all gonna keep him.
I don't know, man. Looking at his price tag.
Y'all keeping him. I'm sorry.
If he takes a couple mil off of that, I have no problem with it. I'll have no problem with it. Come back retooled. I mean, you played 17 games, 1,000-yard running back. I'm not mad at you.
And I really just don't see him as a top 5 running back, though. I'd rather put Austin Eckler and DeAndre Swift as the top 5.
I'm definitely putting Swift there.
Yeah, so I will put Saquon, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift, and Austin Eckler.
So mine. So I'm gonna tell you like this. Mine Eckler is not in there.
Eckler's not in there.
He's not in there.
Who you got?
I have Tony Pollard in my 5 because of his explosiveness. But
Okay.
mine is definitely going to be Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Swift, and then Tony Pollard. And honestly, I feel like Swift is only that good because he is in Philly, and they bought this team to be so good.
The thing is with that, I'm upset with Philly, but at the same time, I'm happy they didn't do it because obviously, you know me, we can't stand the Sheagles. But the Eagles started off so well running the ball, and they abandoned it. It was like they just went ahead and said, you know what? We're running the ball. Everything's running smoothly. AJ Brown's getting touches. Smith, he's getting touches. And it spaced the field out because how much of a threat Swift was. And then it was like Nick Sirianni was like, all right, we ain't running the ball no more the second half of the season because our offense is just that lethal. It was lethal because you was running the ball. So you had to deal with, dang, we got to make sure Swift don't get upfield. Yeah. And then once you stop in Swift, dang it, now they throw into A.J. Brown over the top. And you had all these other options with even Dallas Goedert too getting touches.
Yeah. And mean, Dallas Goedert is so. Dallas Goedert reminds me of Jason Witten. Like he's not flashy, but he's just consistent. It's not quick. Doesn't have that sex appeal, but he is just a consistent tight end who can block. It is a gritty blocker at that. And it's annoying because that was the pick they picked right before us, and that was the one that I wanted. Because they already had a tight end. I don't know why they got another tight end. I was like, oh my god.
Because Zach Ertz was towards the end. Was at the end of his prime. That's why.
No, it wasn't. That wasn't the problem.
What was the problem then?
They just didn't want us to have him. They knew it was going to happen.
They didn't want somebody with the name Dallas going to Dallas.
Yep. Got the double D in the building. Let's get it.
Hey, and the introduction, his freaking draft, the dude who did the draft announcement, he killed it for that one. He killed it.
I want to hear that. I want to hear it. Rebranding. What's happening, man?
Shout out.
We will take off. One step at a time.
So, we talking about top free agent running backs. Who's your top free agent of 5 wide receivers?
Ooh. Who is out? Because I haven't heard many receivers be talked about. It's been the running backs really. Mike Evans, my bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say you.
I figured Mike Evans. I thought Mike Evans was gonna go back.
I knew I wasn't tripping. T. Higgins was originally on a free agent, but it was recently that the Bengals said that they're not getting rid of T. Higgins.
Yeah.
So, because it was T. Higgins was the number 1 overall free agent for receivers, but Bengals already announced they signed him, so he's off the board.
I like T. Higgins. I don't think he's the number 1. Not since you got Mike Evans sitting there. So I would go. Ooh, Tyler Boyd is out there too, by the way.
You got Mike Evans, Michael Pittman Jr., Calvin Ridley, Hollywood Brown, Gabriel Davis, Curtis Samuel, Darnell Mooney.
I don't know if I'm putting him at the top. I don't think I'm putting him at the top. I'm not putting him in top 5. Not Michael Pittman Jr. I mean, I think he's
asleep.
I think he's done great, but I can't put him at top 5 yet. Because Calvin Ridley is there.
Yeah. I think a
Plus,
sleeper that people are ignoring right now is, it sounds crazy, but Curtis Samuel. I think he's a sleeper because he's just he's in Washington, so you
you're right.
know that's it. That's all I'm gonna say. He's in Washington
But
because
being him being in Washington, what was the other? McLaurin?
yeah,
You're sharing the field with him. McLaurin's still doing his thing.
and McLaurin said he just doing cardio, so I don't know what he been doing. McLaurin said he's doing cardio.
Oh man, yo,
But
McLaurin is he's a beast. I hate that he's where he's at and wasting his time, but
I think Curtis Samuel is a sleeper. I think if he's on a team that's got a quarterback, he can do damage.
yeah. I'm like, look at these. So we were talking about the defense, right? So
Yeah.
Cincinnati could definitely go get some of these guys, especially so can the Bears. I think Leonard Williams needs a change of scenery.
Oh, definitely.
Now that
Leonard Williams, he did get his change of scenery because we traded him to Seattle.
well, yeah, but is it what you call is not the coach there anymore? Pete Carroll.
So that situation, we traded him over there, and Pete Carroll is not the coach no more. But I guess he has his option to come back to the Giants if he wants to.
I doubt he's going to do that.
Which he said, I don't think it'll be smart for him to come back, just move on from it because it's like when you're moving to a new area. It's like the area you stay in, it gets old after a while. You need a new change of scenery.
Yeah.
So I think he just needs that because he's been with us for so long, and in general in the New York area because he got drafted by the Jets and then traded to the Giants. So I just think he needs a new area scenery. But do I see him going anywhere else better? I think he may stay in Seattle for another year because Seattle needs help on that defensive line.
Yo, did Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox retire? Because I can't wait for that day. Jesus Christ.
No,
I need them to retire. They are so annoying.
Only Kelsey retired.
They're so annoying.
Look,
please
man,
retire.
You know how I felt about it. I'm sick of seeing them too. Even though freaking Graham lost a step, Fletcher Cox still be playing like
first guy drafted. Is 33 years old. Go home.
Nah, I think the worst thing I've had to deal with Philly is the fact that they got such a high of a draft pick last year and got Carter from Georgia.
Dog.
That was probably the pick that pissed me off this season.
Like, why they got this high ass pick? For what? That don't even make sense.
At that point, I was like, they got something on the NFL.
No, they got something on whoever made that draft, that pick, or the trade that gave him that high pick. I think it was a swap. Oh, look, Randy Gregory is going to be a free agent. No.
So of free agent quarterbacks that is going to be here, who do you think is going to be like going to new teams?
I don't think there's any big name QBs out there. I mean, maybe Ryan Tannehill.
You got Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield, who had probably his best season yet in the NFL.
I think if Minnesota is not going to draft a QB, because I didn't see anything about Minnesota drafting a QB, and I don't know if they even have a first round pick, honestly. Oh, they do. No, yeah, they don't look like they don't look like they're drafting a quarterback yet. So I think he still stays there. Kirk Cousins stays there. Probably not at that price though. You're not that good.
Because Minnesota is looking for a cornerback. They're looking for a DB.
Yeah, I'm looking at that mock draft. They do need some defensive help. But But I think everybody's probably gonna find a new home. I just want to see what I don't, actually. Then again, I might be wrong because Joshua
I was
Dobbs,
just about to say
Joshua Dobbs, my boy. Y'all got to stop sleeping on this man. That dude has been playing his ass off for
Yeah,
Arizona, for Minnesota. He needs a job.
big time.
He built himself into a consistent quarterback, and he's smart. You don't see that very often. I don't think Baker Mayfield moves anywhere. I think he gets himself a contract extension up there in Tampa because he played
Yep.
well. Problem is that if they do bring him back, they have to give him that weapon, Mike Evans' weapon again. If not, then he's not going to be throwing for 4,000 yards. Absolutely not.
Mike Evans staying in Tampa after what they did this season. Mike Evans is staying.
Yeah, I think this is Tyrod Taylor's last year. I think he retires.
Yeah. As much as I was upset with Tyrod Taylor because I felt like he should have been the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And when he was the only QB we had that was throwing the ball downfield and was making stuff happen, but that's also because he's a veteran. So he knows he can read the defense and knows when to get rid of the ball. Joe Flacco, they're saying they have him ranked number 3 at free agency for quarterbacks, and I don't think he should be that high of a free agent.
No, I mean he did play. I think he did play well for Cleveland.
He did,
but I just don't think he. Dude, you're about to be 40. Come on, big dog. Come on, big dog. I get it. We're trying to live our Baltimore Ravens days. Sometimes it's over.
I think for Jacoby Brissett too. I think there's got to be something that Jacoby Brissett's doing that teams just really aren't sold on. Because it's like,
dude, it's the weirdest thing because when he was in what was it, Indy, he started playing so well, and then they just went away from him, and I was like, what happened?
Right. And then same thing happened in Cleveland. Even he was in Washington this year, and you would have thought he would have got some playing time after that game against the Giants when freaking Sam just went and had 6 turnovers.
Yeah, the Tony Romo moment.
Yeah, pretty much. Just throwing Hail Marys and getting picked off by us.
Terrible.
And I would have thought that game at halftime they would have made the change to Brissett, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And I think for him, if he doesn't get picked up by a team this year, I might as well just pack it up and say I'm gone. Because there's nothing else I can do for this league if no one's willing to help me out.
True that.
Or you can just go to New York and just be a backup there. Because
so let's make this way too early championship pick.
Who you got? 2025?
Yeah, who you got in 2025 championship game this year? What do you think it's gonna be?
Dude, it's not even going to sound crazy when I say this, but I won't even be shocked if the Chiefs do a 3-peat.
So you got Chiefs and who?
I'm gonna say Chiefs and Lions. I think we saw the end of the 49ers this Super Bowl. Because what we saw from the 49ers is they were exposed in all those playoff games they played this year. and they got out of all of them except for that Super Bowl.
Okay.
We saw the weaknesses that they have, and I think the Lions have what it takes to go to the Super Bowl. It's just they only thing that hurt them was they beat themselves.
True.
Because had they not, because I'm gonna say it right now, had they not went for it on that 4th down and gambled,
yeah. I'm gonna say this. You're gonna be mad at it, but it's fine. Everybody else gonna be mad at it. And this is the first time you'll ever hear me do this beforehand. I got Chief and the Cowboys.
Bye.
Look.
Bye.
Look.
No.
And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Because even though Dallas played a poor defensive game, the only reason why they lost was a poor defensive game. It wasn't the offense. The offense started off slow, cool. But the defense was the reason why they lost that game, because they could not stop Aaron Jones at all. He just did. Every time he had the ball, he was damn near in the end zone. That ain't good. When he didn't even do all that, he just ran straight through a hole. Nobody was there.
Just like what's his face, Cook, and over in Buffalo. That's all he did. Dalvin Cook's brother. That's all he did.
So, like, that's the issue, and I think that gets solved this year. And they don't have this terrible slow start in the playoff game, because we see how potent their offense is with Dak playing at a high level, and he's just playing. Him and CD were doing whatever they felt like doing, and they continued doing that after they got themselves together. Adding Tony Pollard and probably an extra running back just solidifies that, and that tight end section is crazy. But that defensive side of the ball, you're gonna get Diggs back. Probably not 100% Diggs, but I think he'll end up getting to that point. Plus, you still have Stephon Gilmore, who says he wants to be back, and you got that man Deron Bland, the surprise pick of all picks, back there, picking them off again. Don't throw across your body. That's quarterback rule number 1. Don't throw across your body.
Unless you Mahomes, you can throw across all you want to.
You can, but that might not be a great idea with Deron Bland sitting over there. I can't believe he threw that. But I do think the Chiefs are probably the Chiefs and the Dolphins. I think they have the best possibility over there in AFC to get to the championship, because you can't bet against Mahomes, and I don't want to bet against my man over there, Speedy Gonzalez over there, unless it's cold weather.
Then I'm picking Buffalo. It's either Buffalo or
I don't know if it's gonna end up over there. That's what I'm saying. Like we could say that, but is it the last part gonna end up over there? Let's just say Miami has number 1. They ended up number 1. Yeah. All roads lead through Miami.
But to me, Buffalo got a better defense than Miami do.
I agree, but I think their defense, there's not much you really need to nitpick on Miami's defense, because the way how fast paced they play. So you have to catch up with the score, which means you have to throw the ball, which plays into their advantage.
Yeah.
So that's why I think Miami has that upside that, hey, we can continue this next year.
Okay.
Adding a piece here or there to try to solidify slowing down a team or stopping on a down or two. I think that's good.
All right. I got another question for you. So let's say Chicago, let's say they move on from Justin Fields. Where is Fields going this offseason?
That's a trade, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ugh. I don't think Tennessee has enough assets to trade unless they start using picks, but they desperately need their picks to bolster their team. Unless Tampa decides not to go with Baker, which I doubt would happen, I could see him in Tampa because it's basically the same player that you just played with.
I got a place where I feel like Justin Fields will go that you are going to sit here and you probably won't even agree with. But I feel like I can see it happen. I'm going to give you a shot and make the guess where you think I'm going to say.
The Jets.
No.
Oh, I don't know that. Pittsburgh?
Yep.
Okay.
Pittsburgh. I think he'll be great over there.
I think OG told us that the other day. He was thinking about Pittsburgh too.
I think Pittsburgh will be the best place for him to go to.
I mean, you're gonna have a hard-nosed coach that's gonna not play with you, and he's gonna teach you. He's gonna be there he's gonna be there for a while because he ain't left yet.
I mean, he keep getting winning records. Like even if it's 9-8, he's still winning records.
We're going to playoffs either way. Whether we do something in the playoffs or not, we're gonna possibly be in the playoffs. Wild card at least. So I can feel that.
It's either Pittsburgh or Atlanta.
I wouldn't mind him in Atlanta to go with that that running game and that was that receiver or that tight end that they got.
Yeah. And then
I can see that.
And then you starting to see Atlanta's defense.
They're starting to come together. I like it. I mean, they started to come together after such and such left. I'm just not gonna say no names.
Oh no, you can say it because we know.
He's so good defensively, but I don't know how he keep getting head coaching jobs.
I'm glad he didn't come to us. That's what them Commander fans get for talking all that trash.
Oh, they about to be sad. They about to be sad again at the back of the pack.
Oh, they already sad. It's not even
another year, not going nowhere. They ain't been to the playoff land since RG 3 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's not it. It's not it. But all right, guys, we're gonna sign off today. We appreciate everybody for coming through. My man Casual, sorry about that. Our Brandon, appreciate you, my dog. Yes, we will take off, man. We will take off.
Yeah.
It takes time. It takes patience. The community will be behind us, and we'll appreciate everybody. Big dog.
We'll see y'all Wednesday. Who we got this upcoming week? Let me check real quick. Shit, if my phone quit acting up. We got
Cleveland.
We got Browns and we got Bills and Broncos.
Ooh.
Got Bills and Broncos. So we get to talk about, Bills Mafia, talk about Sean Payton and his scrub team.
Sean Payton, don't talk shit about people. I'm just saying.
Don't talk about us, man. We still trying to grow Sean Payton, so don't get us canceled.
All right, guys. We appreciate y'all for talking through. One love.